Hey, how's it going? Welcome to another edition of the Franchise Nutrition and Fitness Podcast. I am Matt. I'm a certified personal trainer and health coach.
And I'm Ryan. I'm a registered dietitian and a certified nutrition coach.
That's a new one. All right. Certified nutrition coach. I was actually just recently looking into that one as well for me. I guess we have something to talk about soon. But collectively, with all those credentials after our name, all those fun little acronyms, we are Franchise Nutrition and Fitness. And we are bringing yet another podcast to you across all podcasting platforms that you enjoy, whether it be Spotify, whether it be Apple Podcasts, whether it be whatever. If you have a friend who listens to us and wants to be able to pick us up on another platform, by all means, check us out, reach out to us on our Facebook page, Franchise Nutrition and Fitness, or go ahead, hop on over to our website, franchisenutritionandfitness.com, sign up for a meet and greet. You don't just want to listen to us on podcast form. You're here because you want to work with us, because we can help you maximize every bite,
maximize every rep.
Yeah, see, well, that's the tagline normally at the end, and we like to switch it up occasionally because normally Ryan likes to do this, but I figured what the hell, I can go ahead and intro it. So today, it's getting to start being a little bit cooler, hopefully. We're past those dog days of summer, past the middle of August, past my birthday in the middle of August. And a lot of times as we transition to fall and winter, we get away from beach season, people are not so concerned about being shredded anymore. People are wanting to bulk up, because I know I get a lot of questions about this. I know Ryan, of course, gets a lot of questions about this. We were talking about it earlier. People are concerned about taking those winter months and packing on as much mass as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic kind of thing. Like, as from an evolutionary standpoint, animals do it, humans do it. All animals in life does it. As you get closer to being cold, you got to have a little bit more insulation. But back to something Matt mentioned earlier, I've actually been a registered dietitian, nutrition coach, certified for over 2 years, but technically the dietitian thing supersedes it. So it's,
so just there you go. Oh,
yeah.
But you don't ever it's funny you say that, because you don't ever mention that part, because it's, in the grand scheme of things, pretty useless because you're a registered dietitian. Because I find that so many people are like, I'm a certified nutrition. Who gives a good gosh darn? Because unless you're a registered dietitian, you're not supposed to be doling out specific nutrition advice. So remember that next time your trainer at your gym starts telling you about the new fat diet. But I was just thinking the other day, it's crazy. I should be more douchey and pretentious and use more of the acronyms behind my name than I do in the professional world. I was like, why am I not CPT, CHC, SFS? I can't even remember what they are. It's
you have a BSED, right? So
I do, yeah.
So, I don't know, the thing that I mentioned to people when they ask me about the coaching aspect of it, which is what we do here at Franchise Nutrition and Fitness. We supply more support and accountability than we do specific nutrition information. There are nutrition questions that come up from time to time, and there are things that we can work with all of you out there listening on when it comes to your nutrition and your fitness, to help kind of coach you to better decisions and help you come up with the goals that you should be following. We help people come up with their SMART goals and the plan to get them to achieve those goals. And that's really what the coaching part is about. And my grievance with the field of dietetics is that we are taught very well all of the anatomy and physiology things that are necessary. Dietetics technically is the study of human metabolism. So I know those things very well. What they don't talk about is how you can explain that in layman's terms and help people make better decisions with their food. So I forget, there's a specific term. It's not hierarchy, but it's a meta kind of bigger information. And how do you explain that to people? There's a specific word for that stuff that's up there. But taking that information to be able to translate to somebody with that has questions on whether it's losing weight, gaining weight, building muscle, maintaining muscle. There are ins and outs and nuances that are involved in there that are not taught very well to us in the scholastic form. and really has to be learned more in a coaching certification accountability kind of thing. Like my example is always social workers and psychologists are taught really well how to help people think through things, whereas dietitians are taught really well how to tell people things.
Yeah, it's kind of going. Yeah, my background being a lot of education. Like you go back to a lot of the teachers you've had, like some of the most credentialed ones, like the prestigious University of Georgia. It's not necessarily a lot of times known as a teaching university. A lot of the professors there are doing research, and they may be incredibly intelligent and well world renowned in their field, but they don't necessarily do the best job of being able to translate that to people. And that's where we come in as coaches, and that's where I love my background as a health coach, is being able to collaborate with the people I work with, not telling you what to do, because we find that I'm oppositional defiant. Somebody tells me to do something, I'm going to do the opposite, like, because I don't want to do it. But if we can collaborate together, if we can work together, we can implement a plan that is based off your lifestyle, then we can do that. We can do that from nutrition. We can do that from a fitness standpoint. Collectively, you can work with both of us, and we do all of that. And today we're talking about how we can do that as far as bulking up. And when people ask me, like, hey, how do I put on muscle mass? How do I bulk up? I want to be nice and huge over the winter. I can worry about shredding it off come spring break. I think a lot of times people are very surprised. My answer a lot of times is very similar to people who are wanting to lose weight. Strength training. I think a lot of it, a lot of bulking up, it goes more into Ryan's realm as far as the nutritional aspect of it. I think a lot of people neglect that, and you often hear like dirty bulk, which I'm sure Ryan will get into in just a moment. Eat whatever the hell I want, and I can bulk up, and it's great. I'll shed the fat later, whatever. But like a sound strength training program with following the principles of progression is your main thing, because I think a lot of people, like even in a weight loss program or a bulking program, forget that like your body's adaptable. You've got to be overloaded. You've got to be doing more than your body's accustomed to. So a program that figures that out, that works with that, is what you need to do. And that's what I do with my clients that are wanting to bulk up or wanting to lose weight, of making sure that you're doing more than your body's accustomed to. So I'm a big fan of kind of heavier weights, moderate rep ranges. That typical kind of 8 to 12 reps is the sweet spot, I think, for a lot of people, especially for muscle hypertrophy. And of course, we always, we'll do a myth. We did myths before, so we always hear muscle weighs more than fat.
That's a fun myth, because that would suggest that gravity is different on muscle than it is on fat.
Right, like that makes no sense. Like muscle takes up less surface area than fat. Like when you're like 10 pounds of muscle looks much different than 10 pounds of fat. Like 185 pounds at 10% body fat is much different than 185 pounds at 40% body fat. But yeah, so like you're so wanting to bulk up, like ideally, yeah, we're wanting to put on more muscle mass. So that's kind of the main thing going there with our fitness aspect of it. From a nutritional standpoint, how do we put on pack in the calories to pack on the pounds?
Yeah, it's a challenge. A lot of people are different in this regard when they approach it. So Matt mentioned earlier, like the dirty bulk versus the clean bulk. That when that comes into play, a lot of people will suggest kind of eating whatever you want is the dirty bulk. Which
on paper sounds amazing, right? Like it's like, hey, I'm trying to bulk up. I want to put on muscle mass. I can eat whatever the hell I want. Like you always see the picture of like the Rock, Dwayne Johnson, with like the stack of pancakes. Like he's known for his cheat days on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
So
I don't know how much he weighs now, but I know that it's like 270, 280, something like that. Like it's pretty high up there. So that guy, and I see his videos of him working out. There's also always rumors of other things that he's helping with his workouts.
I always have a rule that I tell people. I've got friends that are always like, hey, do you think like he's on something? And I go, if you look at somebody and you have to ask if they're on something, they're usually on something. Yeah. It's not always a proven fact. Like that's there's not a lot of scientific evidence behind
all the time. Like I don't know if you remember the quote that Jim Rome used to always say on his show, but it was that everybody's cheating and it's only cheating if you get caught.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and because he was talking at that time about that was early on in known performance enhancing drug use, like with Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa back then. And then like everybody was like suddenly getting caught because they figured out a better way to test people. So either way, let's just for the sake of the argument say that Dwayne The Rock Johnson is not on any performance enhancing drugs or any stimulants. Either way, he's a huge behemoth of a man that moves a lot of very heavy weight very frequently,
and he's just genetically gifted, like to
burns a bunch of calories, and he has been doing that for a very long time. So that gives him the ability to have giant blocks of brioche French toast. So I don't remember that post. It was like a 2.5 inch or 3 inch thick piece of brioche toast, and that was one of his 2 pieces of French toast, which were like layered with peanut butter and honey on it. Like it's a large sum.
I'm getting so hungry just like thinking about this.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny. I talk to people about food literally all day long. It's my job. It's a full-time thing that I do at the hospital. It's what I do with clients at Franchise Nutrition and Fitness. When I walk outside of those 2 venues, people ask me what I do for a living, and then I tell them what I do, and then they ask me what they should be eating. So I talk about food all day. It's like literally going through my mind all the time. The thing that we're talking about today, though, is about bulking. It's a dirty bulk. That's what we're mentioning Dwayne Johnson and his cheat meals, because you could eat that every single day and you probably would get bigger. The chances are, though, if you're trying to get bigger, what you're really trying to do is stay as lean as you possibly can, but increase the number on the scale.
Yeah, because I can get bigger, no problem. Like with my body type and my history, like yeah, I can sit down and eat a ton of food and put on weight. Like not a problem. But like you said, it's not necessarily just the scale we're looking at. Like, we're assessing different methods because most time people want to bulk up, it's not just about the scale. Like we want to put on muscle mass.
Yeah, and when you look at the scale, remember the scale is a tool. Everybody out there, the scale is a tool. It is a hammer in your toolbox for your nutrition and fitness goals. So utilizing the scale, you could see a quote unquote weight gain or loss of 2 to 5 pounds inside of every single week. But if you plot those numbers on a graph, does it show that over time they're consistently increasing? Then maybe you are bulking. If they're consistently decreasing, then maybe you are losing body mass. And there are different specific factors that are person to person, but let's just speak in as general things as we possibly can here for the people that are out there listening. You remember you can sign up for your free meet and greet at franchisenutritionandfitness.com, and we can get started on a customized plan for use. That way we can make sure that you reach your goals or whatever you're trying to do. But in general, so generally speaking, like Matt said before, strength training is, and that's not the right word. I was about to say a word that was the opposite meaning, but
and strength training is an integral part. I don't know if that's the word you were going for, but I will put that because I will say strength training is an integral part of basically any program. Like I said, when somebody's telling me they want to lose weight, that they want to reduce body fat, first thing I say, strength training. Somebody's telling me they want to bulk up, strength training. Somebody's telling me they want to prevent injury, strength training. Like end of the day, I'm always going to say strength training because it is a kind of a catch-all. Like, hey, if you're not strength training, do it. If you are strength training, do it. Do it. Like it's a big thing. So yeah, that's an integral part. I don't know if that's the word you're going for, but that's well.
Yeah, not the word. I was looking for a bigger word. It's been a long time since I practiced words for the SAT or read really, really thick books that weren't, clinical trials. But
see, I'm graphic novels, so the really, really thick books have pictures for me.
Oh yeah. My pictures usually are like graphs, scatter plots, plus minus curves. Anyway, so the thing there with that, if you are increasing your weights while you're working out, in your strength training and your resistance is increasing, that variable that's in there is that you are burning more calories a little bit as you increase. So what I was talking about before with the progression, the hypertrophy that's occurring there. But what needs to be kept in mind is that if you're trying to bulk up, your protein needs increase a little because you are trying to continue with your strength training. As you increase your body's overall mass, your ability to do work, which is resistance training, cardiovascular work, whatever, increases typically. And with that increase, you're going to need more protein. So here's the real caveat of getting bigger. If you're trying to get bigger, your body has some currently unknown threshold that if you are at this number of calories, you are not going to increase your body weight. So in order to gain weight, you have to break through that calorie barrier. And so this goes back to the dirty bulk versus clean bulking. So clean bulking would be that you are really focusing on making sure you get as lean meats as you possibly can, all your fruits and vegetables in there, getting some whole grain products in there, fusing grain products, getting all your vitamin D fortified foods. We talked about this on previous podcasts. But the hard part with quote unquote clean bulking is doing all of those things and increasing the volume of the foods you're consuming fast enough to break through that threshold that you need to be at to gain weight.
Yeah, it's difficult to like take in a lot of calories of calorically dense food or non-calorically dense foods. Like if I'm eating, just my brown rice and broccoli and grilled chicken breast, it takes a lot of that to put in there.
Nutrient rich food is always really hard to do. So that's kind of the balance, and especially what we provide at Franchise Nutrition and Fitness when people ask us questions about this, is that you can still have some quote unquote fun foods or quote unquote dirty foods. For example, my favorite donut is a yeast donut that is perfectly made every single time, and there's a giant flashing sign usually in a window when it's warm and ready.
I may or may not have 15 years ago watched you devour like 11 of them under the influence of alcohol after a concert.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah. And so allegedly each one of those wonderfully made donuts is only 200 calories. So it's a calorically dense food, but there's not really a lot in there other than like straight simple carbs.
Absolutely. Sugar and fat. That's sugar fat. Yummy.
This is great. And highly recommend, especially when the hot now sign is on. If the hot now sign's off, you just gotta put it in a microwave with a small cup of water in the microwave, heat it for 20 seconds, it'll be brand new.
And the best thing about when it's hot, you can literally like talk about dirty bulk and eating plenty of calories. You can just ball them up and like eat them like they're donut holes. So it's just like 200 calories, 200 calories, 200 calories.
So when we're thinking about getting bigger, if you track your food, which I highly recommend that everybody do periodically. I wouldn't say you have to do it every single day. That becomes monotonous and tedious. Where it's really helpful to do it every single day is if you are like have a very specific time oriented goal that you need to lose or gain X amount of weight at X period of time. Like I see a lot of people that are trying to get ready for their physicals for their jobs, and they have to lose weight by X time. Like you have to be really diligent with tracking your food if you want to actually hit that goal. But if you're kind of like where I'm at, or where Matt's at right now, and you're just trying to build as much muscle mass as you can, but not try to, you don't want to pack on as much fat as you possibly can, but put on as much muscle mass. You don't have to necessarily track every single thing that you eat, but it is helpful to know where you're at. So track 2 regular days, like that you would consider regular for you. So for me, that's going to be a day that I'm working at the hospital, working with Franchise Nutrition and Fitness, and I'm at home, like a regular Monday through Friday day for me. And then at least one irregular day, quote unquote, which would be a day that you're off from your regular employment and you're kind of just doing your own thing. So that would be like a Saturday or Sunday for me.
Yeah, it's definitely like a football season coming up. That's definitely a Sunday afternoon, a few hot wings, a few beers. Yeah, definitely.
Sunday or Saturday. So
There you go. Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, but there's a team that we follow that is a defending national champion. So we'll see how well they do this year. I'm a little nervous. But anyways, but so those 3 days, the average of that, most likely, if you add those, let's say that your 2 working days, it's 2,000 and 2,000, and your non-working day, because you're having so much fun, is 3,000 calories. So you've collectively had 7,000 calories. So what's 7 divided by 3? It's like 2,250, I think.
Something like that. Let's go with that.
All right, doing some math off the top of my head. So divided by 3. I was too low. It's 2333 eating. So
funny, you talk about tracking. I was tracking my food today. I didn't add something, so you reminded me. So
yeah. I can find you. So that would be the number that you are most likely your threshold number. Let's say that's what's been maintaining your weight where you're at for a little while. So in order to increase and break through that threshold, what we always recommend is that you add about 500 calories to that number. And you got to do that like every day. So if your average day is it being 2333, you would have to start consuming 2833 every day, which would bring your average number up until you start seeing changes and shifts in the scale. And there's inside of that, you want whatever that number is, you want about 20 to 25% of that to be from protein sources. So like your chicken breasts, your lean.
So not 3 grams per pound of body weight, like I read in Muscle and Fitness.
No, you can go back and listen to that Fitness Myth podcast that we talked about. We mentioned a lot of that in there. Oh man, I'm not going to go off on a tirade of that today. But that is kind of the culprit that a lot of people say, well, I started eating more and I was eating more and I'm eating more. It's like, are you really? Maybe you're just eating the same thing, or maybe you are eating more on 2 days out of the week and not 7 days out of the week. Like if you really want to dedicate yourself to getting bigger, you got to eat more every single day. And I can just tell you, when I started getting bigger, I was 142 pounds. Currently, I'm 200 pounds. Hit that goal, baby. Whoa, go back, check out the other podcast about updating goals. So to get from 142 pounds up to the largest that ever was, which was 215 pounds, when I started out, I was eating like 2,200 calories a day or something like that, somewhere in there. And I had stopped running as much as I did. So that helped me out because I wasn't burning as many calories. I was only doing strength training at the time, which didn't really help me out when it came to wrestling. That's a different story. But across the time when I got all the way up to like 215, there's a way you can work with us at franchisenutritionandfitness.com to manipulate your calories so you don't have to get all the way up to consuming like 10, 12,000 calories. You can still gain weight on the same amount of calories that you were at before, and you can lose weight on the same amount of calories that you're at before. There's a trick and a rhyme and a reason to do that. And I'm not going to walk you all through that steps on the podcast, but trying to get up through that threshold is what's going to help you gain weight. And if you focus on making sure that you get that amount of protein, that's going to help you stay as lean as you possibly can while you're gaining the weight. So inevitably, though, you will likely put on at least a small amount of fat. That is part of the process of getting bigger. You can't solely put on protein. You can't.
Right. Yeah. That's the reason you see people do the bulk and the cut cycles. Like obviously, like so many people I know are constantly like, hey, like I want to cut body fat and gain muscle at the same time. It's like, good luck with that if you're not a beginning lifter. Like,
I mean, if I get newbie gains all day, that'd be great.
Right.
That's only going to last for a couple months. Maybe if that might be even less for certain people. But I think that's the biggest thing that the biggest takeaway for people to get is that you have to break through that threshold, but you won't know what that number is until you sit down and you track things out to see what it is that you've been maintaining you. And then at least 500. And that's an everyday thing. I can't stress that enough. A lot of people come to me and ask me questions, and it ends up being that they're trying to gain weight, but they're not eating enough every single day to really start gaining weight.
Absolutely. Yeah, tracking is such a vital part of tracking, both from the nutritional aspect and then tracking in the gym, of like making sure, like, hey, again, that overload principle. It's like if you're going in there and doing the same thing every day, like it's not gonna make a difference. Like you have to make sure that constantly overloading, just like you're making sure you're constantly 500 calories over.
Yeah, it's tough. It's not easy. I don't ever want to say that things are easy when it comes to nutrition and fitness. It's all a lot of lifestyle changes, but that's what we do. That's what we're here for, to provide that support and accountability to all of you out there listening, that if these are the things that you're trying to do, trying to get bigger, trying to maintain your muscle, or if you're trying to maintain your muscle while you lose weight, you need as much support and accountability as you can get. I mentioned this in one of our posts the other day on our Facebook about writing your goals down, and that you're more likely to achieve your goal if you write it down. But the highest likelihood of you achieving that goal is if you write it down, have support from a group of people, and accountability from a group of people. So that is what we do.
And we can do all that. We can help you write that goal down. We can help offer support, and we can help offer that accountability. So it's essentially a one-stop shop for you to help to achieve those fitness and nutrition goals that you have.
Yeah. So as we move into bulking season, if that's what you're trying to do, hit us up, franchisenutritionandfitness.com. Scroll down to the bottom, sign up for your free meet and greet today. Share this podcast with the other friends, especially people that are trying to get bigger. And if you are trying to do other things, still sign up for your free meet and greet today at franchisenutritionandfitness.com. And like we always say, maximize every bite,
maximize every rep.